Hello, hello. Uh, Happy crafting tonight. My name is Melissa Kerman with Melissa's Crafting Treehouse, and I have some fun paper crafting for you tonight. I have a project that was inspired by my team. Each month we have an idea sharing challenge. This month's challenge is a sketch challenge. So I don't know if you're familiar with what a sketch challenge is, but I'm going to show you what that is and what the theme is for tonight. And show you a little bit about how to work with a sketch and how I created my card and a variation using this particular sketch. So I encourage my team members to share what they've created in our team Facebook group. And it's a lot of fun to see what other people create. And so we do all kinds of challenges. It might be a color challenge, a sketch challenge. We might have a theme, like a certain set of products, that kind of thing. And it's just a ton of fun to see other people's creativity. So a sketch challenge can sometimes be challenging for people. So that's part of why this is my theme tonight, because I want to share a little bit about how I go about addressing a sketch. So, and welcome as you arrive. Thank you so much for being here. Again, my name is Melissa Kerman with Melissa's Crafting Treehouse, and I'm going to show you, got a few quick little announcements, and then we'll jump right into the project. Say hello when you've joined in so that I know that you're out there. Let me how you're doing tonight and where you're from. Oh, you're excited to see this, Shelley. I'm so glad. I hope you enjoy the sketch and you're inspired to create something with it. So here's a little bit of information of what's going on right now. Designer Series paper sale is going on until the end of the month, 15% off. There's a starter kit special going on right now. So you can get $56 of free product plus a free paper pumpkin kit and all kinds of other additional perks for joining. Summer Makers Mojo Creative Escape is in less than 5 weeks. Oh my gosh, actually it's 5 weeks from tomorrow. So super excited for that. If you haven't signed up for it, please consider doing it. In the description of this video, there's a link to learn more and to register. And there's a new mini catalog coming out not too long. So one of the things I'd like you to know is that as a demonstrator, we get to preview the catalogs that are coming out. So that catalog doesn't go live until September 1st, but we get to see it towards the end of July. So super fun. And then we also get to pre-order at the beginning of August. So some great benefits of being a demonstrator. All right, we'll set that aside for now. And I want to show you the sketch challenge. So again, this is the sketch challenge that I gave to my team for the month of June. And I encourage people to get creative with the sketch. You don't have to do exactly what you see here. It's kind of a guide and you can tweak it and play with it. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit tonight as I show you my project. My project features the Earthen Textures bundle, these wonderful dies, and the stamp set. This has been very fun to play with. And I'm also going to be using the Nested Essentials dies here. And these are called the Tinsel Gems. So those are just some of the products that I'm using tonight. All right, let me just show you the card. So this is the card that I have created using the sketch challenge. And you can see I've got sort of this rounded shape in the background. That's one of the dies from these Nested Essentials dies, the biggest one actually. And then I've used some of the elements from the set as my focal piece, and you can see some of the elements that are there on the sketch. Now this is a lot of parts and pieces to this. We're going to go through and make this, so you'll get to see how I did it. But then I'm going to show you a simpler project at the very end that might feel a little bit more doable and give you some ideas of what you can do with crafts supplies that you have at home. So I'm going to go ahead and set that aside and pull some of my pieces in here. Now on this card, there's these really cool dies in the set. I'll bring that up to the camera there. And, all of these cut shapes, of course, but this one right here actually is like it dry embosses, sort of puts an impression in your paper. It does not cut, but you do the layering in exactly the same way as if you were cutting a wafer thin die. So I've done a little bit of that ahead of time because I have several pieces in my card that have that element. So on the white background piece, and you can see it in there, there's the texture that it creates. And then it's also done on this piece here. This is a piece of Lost Lagoon, and it's up here in the upper left-hand corner. So you get that in camera there. So you can see it a little bit better on the colored paper. So those are two of the elements on the card. And let's just go ahead and bring the card body in. I'm using one of the new colors. This is Pebbled Path. Love this new color. It is one of the new in colors. So let's go ahead and just start with some of the basic elements of this. Now, because my sketch had sort of some rounded elements, I decided to go with the rounded look on the edge. And we don't currently have a corner rounder in the Stampin' Up! Catalog, but we have an old one. And if you've been crafting a lot like I have for many, many years, you probably have a corner rounder somewhere in your collection. So pull that out if you decide you want to do rounded corners. So I'm just going to take my white background piece and punch the corners. Now, anything that I'm doing, like I'm doing the rounded corners on this to sort of stay true to the sketch challenge design, but you don't necessarily have to if you prefer to go with the actual angular look. So let's go ahead and attach this to the front of the card body. Okay, I need my silicone craft mat to help bring that adhesive forward. So I don't know, I probably said this before, but I am a newfound Stampin' Seal lover. I kind of struggled with how to use this, and I've gotten really comfortable with it. You just need your silicone craft mat handy and nearby so that when the adhesive sort of retracts in, you can pull it forward by putting it on this. It's super simple little method there. All right, so now I've got this piece. This also has adhesive on the back. So I've given myself a little head start on a few of these pieces. And that's just getting justified all the way to the top. And I decided to keep this one without the rounded edges. Make sure that I'm going all the way up to the top. There we go. Now the sketch doesn't show any dimensions or anything, so you can kind of decide how big you want any of the elements to be. So you can see I've kind of gone with the basic look of it. It's a little bit more than half for this element right in here. All right, next up. So let's bring in some of the small pieces. So I have got this white die cut piece from the Nested Essentials dies. And I've stamped and die cut a couple of the other elements, and I need to actually stamp some of some additional ones. So we've got these three all set. Put those right there. And I've also die cut this the top of the container piece. Put that there. What I need to stamp is the large, what is it? Planter? I don't even know what it is. What do you call this? You guys comment and let me know. Hi, MJ. Hi, Lauralee. Hi, Mary Beth. So glad to see you here. Now, I'm using Pebbled Path ink on a piece of gray granite cardstock. Now, this card was inspired by, I actually don't know her last name, but Jamie. She is crazy all over the place on Instagram. And she did a card that was gray granite and Pretty Peacock, and I decided to bring in the Pebbled Path and the Lost Lagoon to kind of get some two-tone kind of look there. Pull that aside. And then I have also already stamped off camera this little image right here. So I've got Pretty Peacock ink on the Lost Lagoon cardstock. Now I'm going to go ahead and die cut these pieces and bring in my little handy dandy mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I love this little mini machine because it's I can put it on my workspace, and it's I don't have to take up the entire space. And I'm going to do these images one at a time. Now, sometimes I'll put washi tape on there. I probably want to do that. Got some washi tape on the top of my machine just so that it's handy. Do you guys have the mini machine? Comment if you have it, what you think of it. I've really grown to just love it because of this convenience of having it on my workspace. And I'm always getting up and down when I craft. I don't know about you guys, but I am always. But sometimes it's nice to just be able to stay put, especially if you're doing a bunch of pieces of die cutting. All right, so I'm going to grab my other shape here. I could have done these at the same time, but I just decided to do them one at a time. It's a little bit easier to kind of control them and make sure you get the position right and all that. Oop. Throwing my silicone craft mat all over the place there. Put that off to the side. I have done on my other pieces, so. All right. Always got to be slow and steady about taking off that washi tape because sometimes it can rip your paper and you don't want to do that. Ruin your piece. All right. So now I got my two shapes. Now I want to point out something that I did different on this one versus on my card. So on my original, I actually used this dry embossed shape on the little container before I stamped it. So they look a little bit different. So you've got a little bit more texture. See if you guys could see that. I'm trying to bring it up to the camera so you can tell. So it's a little bit different. And then I sponged, added some color, some added color to that with my blending brush. It's a small little difference, but just wanted to point that out. I was playing around with getting the texture on the texture because it's a similar shape, that dry embossed shape. All right, so now let's bring my other pieces in, all my little die cut pieces, and assemble my little planters. When I was doing this, it made me think of, what is it, paper dolls? I haven't thought about paper dolls in like a million years, but I used to play with paper dolls when I was a kid. And I guess, whenever I do die cutting, it makes me think of paper dolls. But for some reason, this in particular, it made me think of it. All right, so I'm going to start with, I put some adhesive on the back side of my tall vase or whatever it is, container, so that I can stick my pieces down. And I've got my stamped piece in the Pretty Peacock that's going to go in front of this piece of gray granite, the die cut that's gray granite. So there's my that finished element. It's so cute. I love anything plants. I'm obsessed with leaves and trees and plants. All right, so now I've got this little shape here, and I'm going to attach the top element to it. Who has this this Earth and Textures bundle? Comment if you do. Curious, and if you've played with it. It's I haven't seen a lot with it, but I'm sure that people are out there doing all kinds of fun, creative stuff with it. But curious what you guys think of it and if you have it yourself. So now this space here is kind of, it's a short little space that I'm working with. And this is going to pop up over the top of that. But where I place, you can place this piece, all the way down or further up. It kind of has sort of an ideal spot where it fits, but there's a little bit of flexibility as to where you place it if you don't have a lot of height to work with. So there's that. I'm going to put dimensionals on the back side of this. So again, this project is inspired by a sketch, the sketch challenge that I have given my team for the month. And curious if you guys, how you feel about working with a sketch as a way to design. So again, I'll bring it back in case you missed it. Oh, you have it? Yes, you have it, Shelley. So again, here's the sketch. That's what I'm working with, in case you're joining in late and you missed it. All right, so now let's play around with getting these other pieces on here. So I've stamped this in the gray granite. Love that image too. And I've put dimensionals on the back because it's going to be popped up. So let's just get that in there. So I'm attaching it on that side, of course, so out of the way of the dimensionals. All right, let's go ahead and attach these together. Ah, yes, so you're holding off to buy it, Norley. Sometimes we have to do that, right? Who took advantage of free shipping yesterday? That's what I want to know. Curious. I did. I was actually crafting until really late last night. Went out with some friends and had so much fun. Went to dinner and got back and I was inspired to create. So I ended up creating until almost 1 in the morning. But I was creating and I every once in a while I go, oh yeah, I have to put in that order. I have this order. I ordered a whole bunch of adhesive and I put in the order at, what was it, 12:58, and it's the day basically ends at what is it, 11:59 or something like that, Mountain Time, right? So it's 1 something here. So I just pushed it to the very last minute. I was cracking myself up like, oh my gosh, you need to get to this. You need to do it. I was too busy creating. I was creating this for you guys today now. Okay, so now on the back side, I've got my dimensionals and then I put some multi-layers of glue dots at the top. I've got 3 layers of glue dots because I want it to be popped up, but not as high as dimensionals. So let's get that in there now. Isn't that adorable? I think it's so cute. Cute, cute, cute. Okay, so let's bring the card back in. And I've got 2 little strips. These measure 5/8 inch by, I think it starts at 3 3/8 if I'm remembering that right. I've snipped one off already, right there with the scissors. And I'm just going to use the first one that I snipped off to cut off the same angle on the second one, because I want them to kind of look the same. All right, let's put some adhesive on the back of those babies. Most of this is going to get hidden, but let's figure out my spacing here. So the thing that I like about having these planters with the plants in it, I'll just gauge my spacing, do the same thing as on the first one, is that it fills up the height of this, which I like. I like how it fills out the space. Let's just get that. So I want it to be butt up against the white right there. I'll keep attaching it, not showing some white. Don't want any of the white showing on the edge. All right, and then I've got my second piece. Now, I would never in a million years come up with this particular layout. And I think it's one of the most fun things about doing a sketch challenge because I just would not ever think of this. So it gives me the building blocks to create something, again, that I would never think to create. All right, so now I have a couple of scraps of Lost Lagoon cardstock. These were just scraps in my scrap bin of Lost Lagoon. I did cut it down by like 1/8 of an inch just to make sure it would fit. I'm going to put these on the back side of my focal piece. This is my latest craze. Instead of using dimensionals, I like to use layers of cardstock because it gives me a little bit more subtle dimension. It's raised up, but it's not raised up like, you know, 1/8 of an inch or something like that, which is kind of the height of dimensionals. So it's my latest craze. I do layering with my glue dots as well to give me subtle dimension. All right, so on this piece here, I have a dimensional already. That's popped up a little bit more. And, you know, I like varying heights. So we got that going too. Okay. So now all we need to do is place that down. Make sure it's kind of centered top to bottom, from the top of the foliage to the bottom of the rounded white piece. All right, very good. And now I have these tinsel gems. And I wrote on the back the colors that were in there because it was in the catalog, but not on the package. So Misty Moonlight, Fresh Frisia, and Lost Lagoon. And one of the colors we're using is Lost Lagoon. So I'm going to use that embellishment on this card. And I usually like to use the smaller sizes, reserve the bigger ones for, I don't know. It has to move me to use a big one. I tend to go with more subtle elements. But they're shiny. They just add a nice little fun element of shine to the card. Okay, so there we go. Easy peasy, right? Lots of little pieces, but you know, it comes together pretty easy. Now, I have one other thing that I've forgotten that I haven't yet put on there. So there's some really nice sentiments in this set. I especially like this little tiny with gratitude. Just wanted a nice little element to add to the front. Now I've stamped it in a couple different colors. I stamped it in my gray granite right there. Oh, you love it, Laura Lee. I'm so glad. And Sharon, so glad you guys like it. Yes, free shipping is a wonderful thing. So this one is done in gray granite. And then I also have one that's done in pretty peacock. Let's see if you guys can see that. Now, believe it or not, this is actually wider. This one on the gray granite is wider, and it was harder to get it in there because I had more room to, you know, get my spacing wrong. But on this tiny little thin strip, which is a hair less than 1/4 of an inch, it was really easy to get my with gratitude straight on there. So I kind of like that one. So I'm just going to trim this off at a similar angle to the other elements. So, and that was, you know, they had on the sketch challenge, you know, a sentiment somewhere like on there, right? But it didn't have that shape. And so I varied things a little bit to suit my taste. Now I do need to get some kind of adhesive on the back of this, and it's pretty narrow, but the glue dot is exactly what I need. Just the right size. So when, oh geez, okay. I just realized I put the glue dots on the outside edge and I really needed them towards the center. So let's fix that. Oh, I have a good solution. I'm looking for something. Oh, I have 2 embossing buddies around, but they're in projects, various projects throughout my room, so I can't use it. What I wanted to show you is that I could remove the stickiness of my glue dots by just tapping it with the embossing buddy, but I can't find them, so I'm just gonna use my paper piercing tool, and I can just kind of work it off by rolling it around. And I really just need to move it closer to the center so that it'll be on my planter and not on the outside edges. I want my right side edge to be even with the edge of the white. Now I rolled those glue dots up, so it's actually got a little bit more dimension than on the first one, but that's okay. It's like popped up. So there's my 2 versions of the card. Very almost exactly the same, right? So just a couple of things. I'm going to compare this to my sketch, and then I'm going to show you my other card that I created. So for this sketch, and I always encourage people, my team members, when they're doing a sketch, to don't be limited by what you see here, right? So you're going to tweak it based upon what works for you as far as design. So there's the two strips here, which are towards the top of this shape, right? I wanted them more towards the bottom. It kind of grounds it a little bit. So that I changed up. Of course, I've got the rounded corners here and here. They used a flower. I didn't. You know, you can use anything for your focal piece here. I did go with my, embellishments in there. That worked really well. So I stuck pretty close to the sketch. One of the things I thought of was, should I turn it on its side? Now for this, these are tall, so it didn't really make sense to turn it on its side. But you could turn it on its side, and even reorient that, and just reorient everything, which is kind of a fun alternative. So yeah, you can kind of tweak it and change things as it works for the shapes and images that you're using. And I think it just gives you some structure to start with. It's a very fun way to design. This actually came together really easily last night. I knew I wanted to use those images and basically use this rounded shape as kind of the base for my focal piece. And then I just brought in some other colors that I thought would go with it. So I'm going to bring in the second card that I did, and I actually used a piece of card salad. As you guys know, I like to call it a leftover piece from a previous creative session. So some weeks ago, I shared this project. It was my Color Fusers Blog Hub project. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Yeah. And when I was creating these images, I stamped another one that was on this big size, this oval, rounded corner size, right? And I thought, okay, this is a perfect match for this. So here is my sketch challenge project. That it's simpler than the one I just did, and I've changed and tweaked it a little bit to fit these shapes. So obviously my focal piece is that stamped flower. So you could use anything there instead of all these little tiny pieces and parts that you have to attach. And, it's a little bit more cumbersome. I use the same element for my With Gratitude. Move that down, you guys can see it. I use some of the Inked Botanicals Designer Series paper, which is still on sale through the end of the month. Isn't that fun? I sized this piece down so it's smaller than on here, because my focal piece, it doesn't have all those elements going at the top, right? So I needed something that felt a little bit smaller. And by using designer paper and an extra layer in there, I kind of brought the framing all in, right? So I could have a smaller element here and not have a bunch of dead space. And I left space on the top and the bottom instead of just having it at the bottom. So this is smaller this way and smaller this way. Same element here with the strips. Yeah, and pretty straightforward. This one, I added a layer in behind that rounded piece. I decided not to round that. I just wanted to keep it as is. And then I stamped on this with another image from this Inked Botanicals. It's called Inked and Tiled, this set right here. And this doesn't have dies with it. It comes with a punch. So the bundle comes with a punch. So there aren't any shapes for cutting those two out. And so I wasn't inspired to bring the punches in. But you can see how I took the sketch and then tweaked it to work with the images that I had, and then tweaked it again for an even simpler version of my card. So I hope that is helpful in thinking about a sketch challenge, using sketch challenges. You do have to come up with the colors and the images and all that sort of thing, but you have the basic structure. It's like you have the building and you just need to paint it and add decoration. That's how I think about it. So, so again, this sketch challenge was for my team challenge for the month of June. If you decide you just have to buy the starter kit and take advantage of the free $56 of free merchandise. It's the starter kit is $99. It's you get $155 of product that you get to pick. And then you would also get the Summer Makers Mojo Creative Escape event for free. And let's see what else. You get a free tutorial bundle every single month. I'm switching over to say me. Hi, it's me. And let's see what else. You get the preview of the catalog, the mini catalog that's coming out the end. You'll get to see the end of July and get to pre-order in August. So if it's something that you want to get a 20% discount on all your orders plus a great deal, let me know. I would love to have you join our Treehouse Chicks team. Again, we do a challenge every single month, a creative challenge, and I have a way of rewarding people for participating. They earn Chicks Bucks is what we call them. And my team can accumulate them and then cash them in for free products from me. So yeah, lots of fun perks of being part of my team. So if you have questions, let me know. There'll be links in the video description to sign up for Maker's Mojo, to learn more about joining my team. And of course, a link to the online store for shopping for the Designer Series paper and all that good stuff. So before I let you go, just a few other quick things. So make sure to share this video, tag your friends, follow me, like the video, all that good stuff, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook. Appreciate that so much if you do that. And I am planning on going live next Thursday, the 29th. I have a project in mind. Does anybody want to see what I have in mind? I was going to do it tonight, and then I decided I wanted to do this sketch challenge. Yes, Maker's Mojo is fantastic. Thank you, Shelley, for sharing that perspective. I love Maker's Mojo. So, and if you're not at all familiar with what it is, there's 5 presenters. I'm one of the 5. We do 10 live presentations that are chock full of all kinds of creative ideas. Our idea is to bring you the paper magic. We do all kinds of interesting projects, techniques, fun folds. And each presentation has multiple versions of the card or variations on a technique. So each presentation is chock full. So you get a PDF tutorial for each of the 10 presentations and a recorded video. You can watch it on Facebook or not. You can participate live or not. And you get all the materials after the event as well by email. So it is a ton of fun. All right. So does anybody say they want to just, oh yes, MJ, you want to see what I'm planning for next week? I'm really committed to coming on next week. To show you. So one of the swaps that I got when I was on the incentive trip was a pinwheel card. And I haven't made one in years, so I thought it would be very fun. Now, this is the swap. I think I shared it a couple of weeks ago. Oh, I have to switch my screen so you guys can see that big. So this is the swap. And it is done with the, what is it called? Countryside Inn Designer Series paper. Just beautiful. And I have remade and made my own versions with the Let's Go Fishing Designer Series paper, what I call the man paper, and also with some of the shimmer paper. And I've made some of my own pinwheel elements also. I'll just go ahead and show you guys what I have. That's one of my finished versions. The other one is, well, I can't really show you, but it's with the Let's Go Fishing, because it's not finished. It's still got pieces and parts in there. But it's very fun. It's a great way to use designer paper. And it's fairly simple. I like to add some layers to mine. I don't know if you noticed the difference between the swap and the one I did. I added extra layers, so I like to do that. Lots of layers on my cards, generally speaking. So anyway, I hope you're excited to see the pinwheel card and that you'll join me on next Thursday, the 29th, for some more paper crafting fun. And let's see what else. Oh, you like it, Mary Beth? Who has made it? Has anybody made a pinwheel card? Have you seen them? They're very fun and simple. One of the ones that I made uses the lovely shimmer paper. We have a new pack of 5 colors of shimmer paper, which I absolutely love. Like I said, yeah, 5 colors. That one uses the Pretty Peacock, which is just gorgeous. So anyway, I guess that pretty much concludes it for me tonight. I hope you guys are inspired to create and use a sketch challenge. And I'm gonna, let's see, if you guys want to take a screenshot, let me know. If you want a picture of this, I know I shared it a few times. And the blog post for this project will be live by Saturday, and this video will go live on YouTube as well. Oh, you haven't made a pinwheel card, Shelley? Well, then I just have to show you. Yeah. And yeah, so you can catch the replay of this video here on Facebook or on YouTube on Saturday, and then the blog post will be live. I'll have a free PDF tutorial for the project with dimensions and all the details and supplies that will come out next Wednesday in my newsletter. So if you subscribe to my newsletter, I'm sharing free PDF tutorials in my newsletter almost every week. So yeah, so lots of fun. So if you want to make the projects that I share here, you can get all the details for it. All right, everyone, have a wonderful night and a fabulous weekend. And I will look forward to seeing you next week. Same time, same channel. I'm glad you liked the card, Laura. Thanks, Mary Beth. Thank you, Karen. Yay, so much fun. Thanks for being here, everybody. See you soon. And of course, happy crafting.